and that you've been enjoying the recent videos. So, I don't know if you want to call this one a rant. I don't know if you want to call this one, I don't know what you want to call this. But I've always been very skeptical when it comes to boxing media. They'll say what they want to say when they say it, but are never accountable for what they say. And here's another situation. So I've been hearing a lot, and you would have heard it as well, Ben Davison. You know, Joshua's looked great since he's been with Ben Davison. Ben Davison is this. Ben, you know, under Ben, Joshua looks a better man. Under Ben, Joshua looks like this. Under Ben, or you know, Joshua punching more punching power. He's punching harder now. Joshua's more confident now. Joshua's this, Joshua's that. Oh, Ben Davison, he's a great trainer. Ben Davison. That's all I keep hearing is about Ben Davison. And granted, Joshua has had some good wins in his comeback, right? But he's had good wins, but the level of opposition. Did he need Ben Davison to get him those wins? So let's see the guys he fought. He fought Jermaine Franklin, he fought Robert Helenius, and he fought Francis Ngannou. Now the Francis Ngannou fight was spectacular. And to be honest, Tyson Fury should have dealt with Francis Ngannou had he trained properly. He should have done a similar job on Francis Ngannou, but that's neither here nor there. Stars make fights. So, yeah, he blasted Ngannou. I thought Ngannou was going to beat Joshua, to be quite honest. His front foot's going to come forward, but he made a lot of amateur mistakes. And we forget he comes from UFC, and maybe that fight against Tyson Fury made Ngannou look a lot better than he actually is. However, I want to see Ngannou's next fight, his comeback fight, because I have some reservations about some of the things Ngannou said. I could believe because I've seen other fights I could bring up with similar situations where that has happened. And then I've seen what's happened since that fight with Ngannou. He lost that fight with Joshua, and I've seen what's happened in the background with his family recently, his son, and that as well is very unsettling. But I'll put that to one side. I'll park that to one side. Hello, thank you, Catherine. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. So let's go back to Ben Davison for 1 second, right? What has this guy actually accomplished? Now, listen, this is not a conversation where I'm knocking Ben Davison or I'm dismissing Ben Davison or I'm belittling Ben Davison. It's not that. But I guess I've been fortunate through through the media and BWTM Online or BWTM Sports or Bayloric TV, and having had a multitude of trainers, whether it be James Ali Bashir, Stacey McKinley, what's his name? Sanchez, what's his name? Peter Fury. So there's been a load of trainers. I must have about 20 trainers that I've spoken to. You know, all done well and produced fighters and have done well, and some have gone on to win British Championships, some have gone on to win World Championship. Don Charles, you know, Dillian White's former trainer, him as well. You know, not just in England, in America, in Australia, in South Africa, in New Zealand. So Kevin Barry, I could go on with a list of trainers and talking to them, their mindsets and stuff. Ben Davison, he talks well. He sounds good. But if you look at Ben Davison, the guys he's with Tyson Fury, but Tyson left him at a time. With Tyson Fury used Ben to get himself back up and running. And then Tyson left Ben. And there was murmurings at one point where there was Teddy Atlas wasn't Teddy Atlas. Freddie Roach was talking about Ben Davison and talking about, you know, certain things, and then Ben didn't want to work with Sugar Hill or something going on about that as well. So I'm sure Ben wants to be his own man and not be in the shadow of anybody else, and I understand that. I understand that as a coach. I understand as a professional coach. I get that. But what I'm trying to say is, what does a Ben Davison fighter look like from scratch? From day one, as a pro fighter, what does he look like? What kind of style has he got? If I give you example, like I could show you, like, fighters that come in or go through the ranks, and you see, like, you look at the certain way a Derek James fighter will be, where he's taking them on and what he tried to mold them and work with them. You saw when Khan went to Virgil Hunter tried to give Khan more defense. Tommy Brooks, when David Price went to Tommy Brooks, and you could see when David Price was working with Tommy Brooks, you could see Price was starting to use more defense. I mean, at the end of the day, his gas and his mental state and the way he is as a fighter, there were too many flaws for Tommy Brooks to kind of fix. But ultimately, Tommy Brooks, never give up on your dreams, bro. Good night. Thank you very much. For me, Tommy Brooks was able to implement some things. You could see the changes in David Price. So now you've had what's his name? Him work with Devin Haney. Now Joe Cordina's going to go with Ben Davison. But Tyson Fury is 1, Devin Haney 2, Joe Cordina 3, Anthony Joshua 4. All the guys you're talking about, all the guys I've seen there, Lee Wood is another one that I think Ben Davison has spent some time with. So, who are the guys that Ben Davison has taken from scratch to world championship level? Not guys who've already got skill set, a certain amount of skill set, or former world champions, because that doesn't count. Guys you built from scratch. And so there's a lot of this talk now going on about Ben Davis has done this for Joshua, Ben Davis has done that with Joshua, but could Joshua have beaten Jermaine Franklin or these guys without him? Yeah, he spent time. Good. He spent time with Billy Joe Saunders and Josh Taylor. Again, he spent time with. That's nice, but these guys have already come from other gyms. Like Billy Joe Saunders didn't start with Ben Davison, so you can't give me that. And Josh Taylor didn't start with Ben Davison, so you can't give me that. Again, those are 2 more guys you talked about that Ben Davison has had in his camp. Like Don Charles, for example. I like to use him as an example. I like to use him as an example because he's now got Daniel Dubois, but he's had to rehabilitate Daniel Dubois. Because, to be honest, the boxing would have turned their eye on Daniel Dubois because of what happened with the Usyk. Well, not so much the Usyk fight, but what happened with the Joe Joyce fight. But he was too young going into that Joe Joyce fight. The usual suspects rather give Ben the credit than Joshua for his improvements. Read between the lines, Ingram. Oh yeah. I know what you're getting at, bro. I get it, but I have to bring these things up because in my little experience of talking with boxing trainers over the last, 10, 15 years, and getting up close and personal with certain trainers like James Bashir, for example, the one thing I've discovered is this: the proof of the pudding's in the eating. Now, until that button's been pushed, until Joshua is in a situation where he gets hit on the chin and he's hurt, then I'm going to know what Ben Davison has done for Anthony Joshua. When he's in a situation where his back is against the ropes and he's in problems, because Andy Ruiz, I predicted the Andy Ruiz defeat, right? The Usyk fight, you could see what was going to happen in the Usyk fight. So now we have this fight with Dubois. So I remember before Joshua fought, he was on this. He went after the Usyk fight. He went into a dark room. He spent 3 days in a dark room, and after 3 days, he came out of the dark room. We've got this new Joshua. I don't know. I'm not sure how sitting in a dark room for 3 days makes you a better fighter, but AJ is the one who went away and who rehabilitated himself after Usyk defeats. and the movement, and the moment his team have brought him back carefully. Of course, they've brought him back carefully. After 3 days in a dark room, we saw him shadow box against a mattress. Yes, we did see that. So these are some question marks that I have. Oh, he's been working with Ben in the background. These are some question marks I had because even back in the day with Rob McCracken, there were up and there's a lot of things that we also take for granted. Like for example, all the time he spent with Derek James, did that not have an effect? I know personally, working as a professional coach, that you can give and you can the small things you can give because everyone thinks it's the big picture. But I harp on about this all the time in professional coaching. It's the small things done excellently that makes a big picture look bright. The small things and consistently doing the small things right, time and time and time again. So when he went to this guy, when he went to Derek James, and Derek James, another good friend as well, Derek James. When he went to Derek James, we know his pedigree. He's had at one point he was either 2 undisputed champions in his camp, trainer of the year multiple times. I mean, I would say to myself here that my point is, what has Ben Davison done to get all these accolades? Is it Ben Davison himself, the trainer? Is he good? Is he just good getting the best out of fighters? Is that it? Or all those fighters already good and he's just, just polishing them up? There's questions to be asked. I'm not giving him no benefit of no doubt. I'm not giving him no benefit of no doubt whatsoever. I'm not. Because I tell you now, if Dubois comes out fast, doubles up that jab and hits Joshua on the chin, what is the history of Joshua when he gets hit on the chin by somebody who can punch? He cowers behind the guard. He doesn't throw punches back, and he falls down. But that's what we've seen. We saw the Andy Ruiz fight when he got hurt. Don't talk about the Klitschko fight, because everyone hypes on about the Klitschko fight. But what people fail to realize about that Klitschko fight, I think Klitschko was sitting on his backside for a year and a half. Was he not retired? Then he came out and fought Joshua. And even then, Klitschko dropped Joshua. And it was Vitaly Klitschko that told Klitschko, you know what? Don't worry. This guy's going to blow his gas tank. We'll take him in the later rounds. There's a miscalculation by the Klitschko camp. And that's what happened. I truly believe that Dubois, if I'm Daniel Dubois, everyone's talking about Joshua hitting hard and he's big and he's powerful. That's what everyone's focus is on. But the dynamics is, if Dubois doubles the jab up and pushes Joshua back, he's got a better jab than Joshua. He pushes Joshua back, uses a double jab, forces him to the ropes and starts to hit Joshua. Joshua's not going to throw anything back. Historically, he doesn't throw anything back. And Joshua's a very good front foot fighter when he's boxing. But when he becomes a shootout, Joshua comes a second best. Is he vulnerable to the left hook? Who's throwing the left hook with any power at him? Is he vulnerable to the straight right hand? Who's throwing his right hand at him? Is Joshua as doable as Herkovich? Is Joshua as arrogant as Herkovich to come out and try throwing bombs at her? That's never been the way Joshua fights. And I think a lot of the appraisal of Joshua is because of the Ngannou knockout. That Ngannou knockout says, well, Joshua is back. But that knockout of Ngannou, if we go back and look at the fight itself, Ngannou was wide open to get hit with a right hand, and that's due to the fact that I'm not knocking Joshua. He's a good fighter. And what's his name? Ngannou is coming from the UFC, so he should have done what he did, right? So we're still looking at a boxing novice right there. Exactly. So is Joshua meant to have done what he did? Of course he's meant to do what he did. But is it that fight that people are pinning their hopes on, that Joshua's back to his best? Because they never said that about the Helenius fight. He looked terrible until he hit Helenius with the right hand over the top. The Franklin fight was nothing to talk out to write home about. Oh yeah, the Otto Wallin fight was good. Otto Wallin looked like he didn't even want to fight. So you tell me. I I did not recognise the Otto Wallin that fought Fury to the Otto Wallin that fought Joshua, and that was a few years later. Because Otto Wallin never even came to fight. So I don't know if that fight is what everyone's pinning their hopes on, that Ngannou fight. So I truly feel the Ngannou fight is the highlight of Joshua's career now. It really is. Nobody talk about the Klitschko fight. That was so many years ago, 2016. Nobody's talking about that. People kind of paper over the cracks and forget that Usyk, who can't punch, that everybody says, was rocking Joshua left, right, and centre. He was rocking him all over the place. Andy Ruiz had Joshua out on his feet. So I just wonder, why does everyone think that somehow Joshua's going to get through Dubois' punching power? I'm convinced. A guy is already hurt in sparring, and I don't know how bad the knockout was in sparring with Dubois. I don't know how bad it was. And Dubois not a boy anymore. Dubois is a man. I mean, he's got a girlfriend, this one, I understand, but he's a man now. He's not a boy. He certainly isn't the same guy that fought Joe Joyce back then. And I'm not trying to blow smoke up Daniel Dubois' ass, but what I am going to say is that there is a significant difference in the way he's fighting. And let's not forget, he's the champion now, not the challenger. He's the champion. Is that 10% more going to match Joshua or be better than Joshua? If he says a high tempo, doubles the jab and pushes Joshua back into a place he doesn't want to be, gets hit on the chin, how does Joshua respond to that? Does he want to be a part of that anymore? 2017, thank you so much. So there's a lot of things I have questions about. This Ben Davison thing, I'm sick and tired of hearing it. But if somebody can tell me what a Ben Davison fighter looks like, don't talk to me about fighters that have come to his gym and he's worked with. I don't want to hear that. What does a Ben Davison fighter look like? But what have they accomplished? British, Commonwealth, European world. What are his fighters like? What do they do? I like, I know that, for example, a James Ali Bashir fighter, for example, I know that they've got very good footwork, lots of feints. I know that they're going to hit and not get hit. Bashir is all about hitting and not getting hit. Like Emmanuel Stewart, for example, he would tell heavyweights not to throw 5 and 6 punch combinations, but 2 and 3 punches to prevent yourself from even getting countered. So there are different things. That what's his name? What's this guy? Freddie Roach. His guys are really about attack, less defense. This other guy, Robert Garcia, another guy who's really more about attack. His attack, their attack is their defense. We could keep going on. But what does a Ben Davison fight look like? What does a Ben Davison fight look like? Please, somebody answer me that question. Let me go through this as we're having this discussion, and I'll go through and read your comments. Give him the benefit of doubt, though. I guess he has a lot of people around him giving advice here, there, and everywhere would confuse any man or woman. The spin on AJ's return does not fool me. The Dubois fight will show you where he really is. That's what I'm saying to you. Where he is in 2024. Ben Davison doesn't even have a grounding in amateur boxing. Tyson Fury gave him his break as a fellow traveller. AJ will run like he did in Ruiz 2. Well, will he be allowed to run in Ruiz 2? Ruiz, let's be honest, is flat-footed, yes, but he doesn't have a jab, different dimensions. And that jab alone could cause Joshua a lot of problems. Dubois will bring it on the night. He will. Klitschko could have really finished it. Why didn't he go for it? Because Klitschko... I actually was in the Klitschko after that fight. I remember, and I've got the interview on my channel. I went and saw James Ali Bashir after the fight where Klitschko was staying at the hotel. So when I sat and I spoke with Uncle Bashir straight after the fight, and stuff was being revealed that Vitaly was telling Vladimir, was basically the instruction was, save it till the later rounds. Klitschko was out for 17 months before he fought AJ at a time of 42. So yes, please look at that. Bill versus Beterbiev is going to be amazing. I think Biv's the best light heavyweight in the world. I've been saying it for a number of years. I hope that Bivol is able to use the jab, establish a jab, and work behind that jab and put combination together and get out of the way of Beterbiev or Beterbiev. That's what I'm hoping happens, but it's a great fight. Klitschko was, let me go here, let me go back. I'm going to have to go through these comments here. It's a lot here. Klitschko was always very cautious after Corey Saunders' fatigue. Yeah, that's the defense that Emmanuel Stewart gave him. No uppercuts from long distance. Keep your punches straight. No hooks until you get a guy close to the rope, so you've got him hurt. Then you can throw hooks. In a shootout, AJ's vulnerable. Yes, AJ always comes unstuck when he's overwhelmed, loses his footwork and everything. Interesting, Charlie. Ngannou is slow boxing others. Can't pick up AJ too much for that. Ngannou, yeah, but a lot of people that Ngannou fight is the fight that everybody. That's the highlight reel. That's the AJ is back, because people have been begging for AJ to be back, but they don't understand that an aggressive AJ is an AJ that's more likely to get knocked out. Chase this aggressiveness. 4 or 5 punches and he suffers. That's it. The Ngannou KO was a marketing dream for a promoter to tell everyone that AJ is back to his devastating best. Exactly. Is it true? Is he back to his best? Is knocking out a novice bringing AJ back to his best? I'm not sure. Truisty, but he's tough. That's why he's made an impact. AJ won't trade. DGD needs to keep cussing his mom and vex him up. Yeah. It's true. It's true. Yeah, good point, mate. AJ v Klitschko is 2000. Dubois needs to stay mentally strong and not fall over at the first sign of aggression, and then he'll be fine. Yes, but if you strategically look at the fight, right? Ding Ding Bell comes out. If Dubois comes out the same way he did against Herkovich, he'll get results early. Because he's putting the fear of God in Joshua, a man that was scared of getting knocked out by Andy Ruiz. He had the fear of God in him. He was worried about getting knocked out by Andy Ruiz, and he had went and saw sports psychologists over it. So it's another big night. It's another big fight. But we got to go back to Joshua's mentality. What happens in a big fight, in a big night, when he's not fighting an old man, but he's fighting a guy that's hungry and like a real lion that's coming at him? What happens? If he knocks out Dubois in the devastating fashion that he knocked out Ngannou, then we have to start asking questions again and say, well, maybe. I won't write of Beterbiev just yet, especially now that he has had some more time to load up on the juice as he normally does. Oh, wow. Marnie concerned Dubois' mentality and whether he will wilt under the pressure. I've been saying this of Dubois in the past. The sense of money is not AJ for me, though. I think AJ beats Dubois. I think he'll find a way to box this style of match. Okay, AJ is not so robotic on the Ben. Well, yeah, but the question I want to ask you, is it Ben that did that, or is it more to do with his term with Derek James? Are we forgetting the time that Joshua went to Derek James? And then the time he was under Robert Garcia. And so, since McCracken, then we went to Robert Garcia, didn't we? Angel Fernandez, Robert Garcia, Derek James, and now Ben Davison. Is Ben Davison getting the beauty of what all those other trainers was telling Joshua? And is now Joshua developing into be a better fighter? Or is that all smoke and mirrors? He seems hungrier, sharper, and regained that Kaliusic was showing less hesitation. Yeah, less hesitation against who, though? I mean, is Dubois going to give him them sort of openings that Ngannou did? He's going behind a good stiff left jab. I mean, I don't know. I won't write off the Beterbiev just yet. Oh, yeah, you said that already. He ironed out Francis Ngannou. I like Beterbiev in that fight. Is he in the gas? I don't know. I think AJ is more well-rounded than Dubois, but it's a great fight. Okay. Dave Allen said that the Dubois guy's the hardest had he's been in with. Absolutely ramrod. Yep, I know. I've spoken to Dave Allen. I've actually had the displeasure of being in the same ring as him for about a minute. Then found out that the weights are there for a reason. I tried to spin Dave Allen as I would a guy my size or maybe a little heavier. I couldn't move the dude. The dude was just solid. I couldn't move him anywhere. He just started walking me down. And anyway, another story for another day. I'll tell you about it. It's fun story. Didn't last too long, but it was fun. The reason we all know you're being real, Ingram, is because you've been critical of Dubois previously, and you are given a fair assessment of why you think Dubois will win. Goes to show you have no agendas. I've got no agendas. No, I haven't. I've got no agendas. I've got no the fact of the matter is, boxing media, for the most part, is very irresponsible. Boxing media will tell you something for that moment and for that time, and then when they get it wrong, they'll disappear and they're on to the next fight, and then on to the next fight, and they're on to the next fight. That's what it is. There's no Superman in boxing. He was almost caught before the Smith fight. The man hails from Russia, for God's sake, a country banned from state-sponsored doping. I respect you for that. Displeasure, LOL. When? Yeah, that was a few years back. When I did an interview with Dave Allen, that was a time where I was talking to Dave quite a bit. And that was around the time, I think just around the time there was Dave Allen, myself, Peter Fury, and we had Eddie Chambers on a podcast. Yeah. So we were doing them podcasts way before those people were doing podcasts today. Anthony Macken, haha, I've never forget the fix with Holyfield and Valuev. When did you spar Dave Allen? Well, it wasn't a sparring session. He just said, Ingram, do you want to have a spar? I said, yeah. I did an interview with him. He said, do you want to have a spar? I said, yeah. All right. Got in the ring. And it was like Dave Allen, but I didn't think about it. My mind was like, do you want to spar? Yeah, cool, no problems. Be nice to get in the ring. Got in the ring, put some gloves on. And, then it was a timeout, and he came out at me and popping a jab, nicely moving, nice around. Their weight divisions for a reason. Completely oblivious to the fact it was Dave Allen. And he was a heavyweight. Oblivious to that. I was just moving around nicely. And then it was about 30 seconds into that sparring session, he threw a jab. And the weight of the jab he threw just moved my whole body shook. I thought, shit, why is that? So then got into a clinch. So I got into the clinch. We tried to move him in the clinch. Couldn't do anything in the clinch because obviously he's rock solid. Yeah. And then I tried to spin him. So I was on the ropes. And he threw like maybe 2 or 3 body shots. I caught the 3 body shots. I was trying to spin on the 3rd body shot. So I kind of spin my way out. I realized, oh shit, I can't get out of this place. I can't get out of here. This guy's coming forward. My jab can't keep him off. I can't keep this guy off, and he's coming. I thought, just get the hell out of here. So as soon as I got I slipped under a hook, slipped under the ropes, and I said, no chance. As I clicked when the minute I realized I was in there with him that I'm not able to move this guy. I can't. The jabs and throws having no effect on him. He's walking straight through me. Out. So I got out. So that's my story, Dave Allen. Dave can confirm it himself. It was very funny. Very, very funny. Very, very funny. Do I have a ramrod jab? I probably have a ramrod jab for somebody my size, or maybe a division or 2, but not a ramrod jab for a heavyweight. Absolutely no. And so I probably at best, probably at 175. Or 180, and that's not even in shape. Good guy, Dave. Really good day. Good time. Dave Allen's a good time. So I wouldn't call it a sparring session. It was a move around. It was I don't even call it a muck about. It was just, he said, do you want to have a spar, mate? I like I said, yeah, mate, no problem. So I just got in the ring. I didn't think about it. If I thought about it for another Because when he said, he said, "Do you want to spar?" Go on, mate. It's like, I just jumped in the ring. I didn't think about it. It didn't go through my mind. If I had about 30 seconds more, I thought, no chance, mate. I'm not getting there. And Dave's a very charming, very charismatic guy, you know. So, yeah, good guy. I have an old picture of you and Uncle Bashir together. You've got to recreate it. Yeah, I think so. Can you imagine a Dubois jab that no, don't even think about it either. Like if now if Dubois said that, I'd say no chance, mate. No freaking chance. I do have some sense of me, but no, 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 no. So what happened with it, and how did he almost get caught? He did get caught in the Smith fight, yeah. Raise levels in HG and testosterone, yeah, that's right. That's true. So my thoughts. Back to my point about Ben Davison. I'm not knocking the dude. I'm not having a go. Having a go. I'm just saying that who has Ben Davison trained to have all these accolades said about him, and why is it when Derek James was with at Joshua, and Derek James had Joshua when he he was coming back. I think did he have 2 fights under Derek James? Was it the Franklin fight? The Franklin fight and the Hellenius fight. I'm sure it was those 2 fights. And then he switched to Ben Davison for the Ngannou fight, right? So those 2 fights, was that a year between those 2 fights? I don't know. But he would have worked with him. Was it after the second Usyk fight? So there's a period of time where Derek James had done some work with him, and then Ben Davison would have come in at the Ngannou fight. So, Ben was working behind the scenes all the time. I don't know. You tell me. You tell me. Now, Dave Allen is an interesting one because I personally think Dave Allen could have done a lot more with his career. I do. I think he was, I used to talk to Dave after. I used to talk to Dave before every fight, sometimes just before he went and fought. And I said to him, there's a lot of things I said to him behind closed doors that now he probably look back and think, yeah, England was right. The kind of people that I think were advising him, the people that were, let's put it this way, I think he was misguided. I remember Dave was unbeaten fighter, and after every fight, he talked to me about sparring stories, where he went sparring, talked about when he sparred Joshua, when he went abroad and sparred as well. And the sort of camps he was in. So, yeah, Dave had all the knowledge and inspired world-class fighters in my opinion, achieve a lot more than he did. At least Dave should have gone and won a British title, in my opinion. But I guess, environments and the people that are advising you and the things that are being said to you, and if you listen to those people, you trust those people, I don't know. I think Dave could have done a lot more. In my opinion, I think he could have done a hell of a lot more. Dave got beat up a lot, but glad he earned good money. He seemed like a great guy in interviews. He is a great guy, Dave Allen. Did he earn good money? I'm sure he did. Enough to retire. Seeing him, do you have a prediction for AJ versus Dubois? I'm going with Dubois. And I know that Don Charles and his team will be meticulous in how they go about for the AJ fight. They will study AJ physically, mentally, and of course Don Charles knows AJ. They all kind of know AJ, Dubois, Chisora. Don Charles knows all that circuit right there, so he will know AJ very well. He'll know AJ very well. He'll know AJ's strengths and his weaknesses. So Don's in a very good position in terms of how he'll prepare Dubois for this fight. So make no mistake, he will be well prepared for this fight. Shaka Cordelia fight. I think I would like Cordelia to push Stevenson. You know, I'm going to say something else here about Shakur Stevenson. Let me tell you something about this, right? People will change their opinion of Shakur Stevenson if he stands in the middle of the ring and has an all-out brawl, and it's blood and guts, and like the Wardley versus Clark fight, blood and people's eyes busted and blood coming out his mouth, and you know, that's value for money. That's real boxing. No, that's not real boxing. But people want that animalistic, brutal sort of Gatti Ward sort of thing out of every fighter, and that's just not possible. That's the aim of boxing, is hit and not get hit. So a lot of these people in boxing are actually anti-boxing. There's an anti-boxing brigade, because the basic principle of boxing when you go into box is hit and not get hit. The opposite of that would be hit and get hit numerous times. That is that's opposite of what boxing is. So I call it anti-boxing, the anti-boxing brigade. And there's a lot of them out there that think a street fight is boxing. It's not. Don't get me wrong, it's exciting. It's exciting, and don't get me wrong, but it's not the longevity of a fighter. Forget it. And the lack of skill. But when you got two guys of highly skilled and they match one another, punch for punch and move for move, that's different. So yeah. So when Shakur Stevenson does that, then people will change their opinion. Until that time, people just want to see. If you listen to these anti-boxing brigade guys, every fight should be a brawl, and every week people should be punching, knocking lumps off one another. Those type of dudes should go and watch, I don't know, bare knuckle boxing, because they'll get that every week. Dave Allen, yeah, I believe he did. Weather King says, I have cancer. I'm sorry to hear that. I checked it out, Anthony. It's pretty suspicious. Not sure how the fight went on, but it's happening before boxing. Yep, I know the Smith brothers did make a complaint about it. Eddie threw him into big fights like a lamb to slaughter. Yep, typical matchroom. Davison has only come in recently, but we are led to believe that he has turned AJ into a ferocious fighter. If AJ beats Dubois, they'll start saying that AJ has matured as a man under Ben. Just watch. Yeah, that's what I'm saying to you. Like, is Ben Davison actually that good a trainer? Like, question marks. Ben Davison, Shane McGuigan. See, Mark Tibbs. Mark Tibbs is a damn good trainer. He's a damn good trainer, Mark Tibbs. Look at what Mark Tibbs did with Dillian White under his tutelage. Like, he took Dillian White from where he was to, like, I think either number 1 or number 2 in the world. And he had some good wins as well. Joseph Parker. He was on that run. Joseph Parker. What's his other guy for? The cruiserweight, the bridgerweight champion of the world at one point. I can't remember the guy's name again. So he had some good wins against some good ranked opponents with Dillian White. Mark Tibbs is a good trainer. As you look at how Dillian White was and how Mark Tibbs turned him round, I thought Mark Tibbs was a very good trainer. Very good trainer. I have a feeling that this AJ Dubois fight will go down as an all-time British classic. One of these fights we're watching again in 30 years' time. I hope that Joe can pushes Stevenson. That's what I want to. Yes, people would love him if he fought blood and guts. Of course. Dave Allen seems so friendly. He is. That's what we want from him, yeah. Shakur was heavily criticised after last performance. I believe he was heavily booed. Yeah, he was. Do you think that Shakur will stand and trade? I don't really see it, though. I hope Cordina pushes him. I do hope. I hope Cordina does push him. Why I hope Cordina pushes him is because if Cordina pushes him and we see a bit more from Stevenson, then yeah, I think what is excitement? People want excitement. People want to see more excitement. And there's been a lot of fighters that got caught up in their excitement and got themselves knocked out in the process, and therefore the fans didn't like them. For me, you can win well. You can win well, or you can win badly, but you can still fight another day. But if you lose, and you lose badly, people can drop you like real quickly. That's what I noticed in boxing. No, he'll never be able to do that, sadly. That's why so many turn to UFC. Of course, Fabio Ward Clark. Yeah, the masses want spectacle. There's no more of those fans. The technique fans, which is why influencer boxing is big. Yeah, just stand and have a shootout. Not NGL. Those types of fighters are more exciting. Oscar Rivas, that's the boy. So he beat Oscar Rivas and he beat Joseph Parker. Are you surprised Fabio and Fraser are having an immediate rematch? I like them both. Guys, took major damage. We are in the Turkey Al-Sheikh era. And in the Turkey Al-Sheikh era, unbeaten records mean nothing. You literally have, and I hate to say it, but it is what it is. You have, fanboy is probably a bit strong, but it is what it is. Turkey Al-Sheikh is the ultimate fanboy. What I mean by that is that he loves boxing so much and he loves the sport so much and he wants the best fights because the best fights have not been happening. So he's like a guy that's like finally getting water, ability to drink water after being dehydrated for a long time. Now he's drinking water, so he's drinking plenty of water where he's getting all these matchups. It's like me sitting down and playing Undisputed and say, right, I want this guy to fight this guy, this guy to fight this guy, this guy to fight this guy, this guy to fight this guy. And so while he's having all these fantasy fights, some promotional stables will start to damage those promotional states. Why? Because you can't now, in this Al-Sheikh era, or the Turkey era, in this era now, you can't sell something and lie to the public and say, this guy's a great fighter. You can't do that because you have to show greatness. This means your guy's going to have to fight. And in this era, it's more likely your guy's going to get beat. But he's going to get paid handsomely, but he might get his ass kicked. It doesn't matter. It's taking us back to those days like in the 80s where everybody fought everybody. And promoters shift to one side, everybody fought everybody. Or, Ali fought Norton and Fraser and Holmes and Foreman and the list goes on of all the guys Ali fought. So Turkey's taking us back to that if we're not already seeing it. And before long, like I said before, all these sanctioning bodies will go, or if they stay, they'll be made redundant by having a universal championship. So we recognise one face, one name, one champion, like Deontay Wilder used to say, but to have it for every division. So you've got all these undisputeds happening, all the undisputed. But let's just say, right, we just had one belt now. That everyone universally recognised one guy's champion. So all them other sanctioning bodies and all the confusions they cause, like the IBF are causing, like now, so like you've got two guys fighting for a world championship, but Usyk's beat the brakes off both of those guys. So it doesn't make no sense. But it's just to make money. But if you had a universal belt, a one belt, then we knew the one champion would have been Usyk, and he'd have been the universal champion. And that makes things, the whole world of boxing so different. That's what I think Turkey is taking us. And I think we'll go down the world of a boxing league, maybe promotion against promotion, or get all these promoters together and have fighters in certain leagues, in different weight divisions. Yeah. And each promotional outfit gets certain money given back to them, depending on if their team can win. Like the 5v5 is just like a tester for what I see in the future happening. And like I predicted 5v5 a long time ago. I predicted it a long time ago. Now it's happening. And I told you boxing is becoming more like WWF or WWE. It's looking that way now. So, you have a guy there who's got a lot of money. But the thing is, the way he's running it now is like, I told Gash he's doing a great job. But what happens when there's nobody to stop what they're doing and they start implementing certain laws? Who's going to stop them from implementing certain laws and becomes a dictatorship in boxing? And it could end up going that way. Who's going to check the Saudis? So for all now, it's good, but who's going to check them? You need somebody to check them so they could become the authority in boxing. No, I'm not saying that's a bad thing. I just want to see great fights, and what Turkey's doing is fantastic. However, the long-term plan, where's this going? Me, the other thing I like to do is just shred up all this media, boxing media at the moment, and just get professional boxing media and promoters not talking rubbish, but people asking relevant questions and not buddy with the promoters. But anyway, that's just me going off topic. So Fraser Clark and Fabio Wardley, this is the era where it's not about your record, it's more about you fighting and getting paid a lot of money. So your careers could be short-lived in this era, and the next fight could shorten their careers. Yes. Do you think AJ will lose if he loses in the ring, lose it like he did when he did against Usyk? Well, AJ in that fight was still conscious. If Dubois if he loses against Dubois, I don't think it's going to be on points. And if he gets rendered unconscious, he won't be able to do what he's doing now, for sure. Good point, Barry. I think that a lot of mileage has been put on Wardley's clock after the Clark fight. Oh yeah, Stevenson broke his hand last fight, hence he wasn't as active, hence booze. Turkey is moving like Mr. Han from Enter the Dragon. Yeah, absolutely. And I worry both will take even more damage. You don't want too many fights like that, or you have a damn short career. But if you're getting paid the money, to have a shorter career, but you'll make more money than you would have in a longer career, then it's a gamble you're taking it. Boxing needs to get rid of the O's losses worship. Oh yeah, of course. Like when Don King put on Supervised. That's what I'm saying. We're going back to that era. I see it's going back that way. The only problem with that, with the Turkey era, is the atmosphere. If they can improve the atmosphere of the crowds, it would be incredible. Yeah, that's why they're opening up to doing it around the world. But give it time, it'll happen. Yep, that's why you know that Anthony Yard and Tunde don't really want it. They're on the outside looking in. Yeah, they are on the outside looking in. Let's be honest. The way Anthony Yard's, if in another era, I think, or in another universe, I think Anthony Yard would be world champion. Like, yeah. I think he'd be a world champion. And if it was managed differently, he'd be a world champion, I think. He's got all the attributes there. I just think that he's reached a ceiling with where he is there without really doing too much. It's either you're fighting for world titles or you're fighting people that don't really matter. And the reason why that is because if you get beat by people that are like, for example, if you got beat by Bwtm now, his career would be, well, he'd have found his level. That's why if you get beat by Bwtm or you get beat by Bivol, well, they're world-class fighters. They're both fighting for the undisputed. So it makes Yard look good. So they're trying to keep away from that. Also, I don't think Universal Champion work. There is more money in having multiple belts. Not good for us fans, but good for promoters that can make money. Yeah, well, listen. I think Universal belt will work. It will work, especially if they have a league. If they have a league, the fighters have got to get up. If they're in the league, they've got to fight for something. They're certainly going to be fighting for IBF, WBC, WBA, all their mandatories and all their obligations. Just scrap them to one side. Fight in this league. You can go, if you want to go and fight outside, like if you're Anthony Yard, you can go and fight for those belts there. But in this league, you're going to get paid more. You're going to get paid more money. You get looked after as a fighter, and you're going to get broad. Kind of like people will recognize you for being the man. I just, it's Dubois is becoming like Saudi Arabia's becoming the new Vegas. That's what I think's going to happen. That's what I think's going to happen, honestly. League boxing was always on the cards, yes, but I spoke about this before, and I spoke about a league of boxing for or older guys coming back, masters of boxing. I said it would happen. And we got Jones versus Mike Tyson. We've still got Mike Tyson fighting now. I just think that, and the exhibitions, I talked about the exhibitions as well. All the things I said about 2-3 years ago, people said it couldn't happen. It's all happening now. Saudi are the new boxing mafia. Riyadh is the new Atlantic City. I think it will not be good if they're unchecked, but they will end up being unchecked. YouTube has really carried boxing media for a while. Some of it is okay, but a lot of it is trash and just content creation. That's what I'm talking about. Did you see Mourinho sign Arsenal sign Mourinho, bro? Yes, I did see it. I did see it. And I'll be signing Mourinho later on for my Barcelona side. We're going to win the league. No, you're not going to win the league, sorry. Until you find a striker, a quality striker, you're not winning nothing. I think that Anthony Yard will be frozen out going forward because Tunde has burnt bridges for Uncle Frank. Yeah, well, that's how it goes. Yeah, that's true. You can't keep burning bridges with people. It happens. If it's a league, well, the only way it can work is if Yard leaves Tunde and he goes with someone else. I mean, he's got nothing to lose, really, to be honest, professionally. You know, yeah, it's true. If it's a league, it would be more incentive for boxers instead of being pushed to the side to do their own thing. Yeah, that's what I see happening. That's what I see happening. That's the plan. I mean, come on. Why do you think he's bringing all these promoters together? Why do you think he's brought all these promoters together? Well, he's just brought them together just to look good. It's, you know. But, how do you think he managed it? A lot of money. But here's something. Here's something in the script. What about, would it be more exciting to have something in, while this is all going now, for Hearn and Frank Warren to split? Right? Imagine those two, I'm scripting this, those two split. That's a big bust up between Warren and Hearn. And then you had rivals like SmackDown and Raw. I mean, this stuff is scripted, but there's every reason to believe that it could happen. Every reason to believe it could happen. You keep asking, do I like Jack Johnson? Bro, I wasn't even alive when Jack Johnson was fighting. I don't know. He was a something that nobody thought would happen. Of course, get them to settle it in the ring. Well, no, I think then you get bad blood. If it's a league, I don't hope it isn't become scripted. Well, that's very possible. And I noticed that the whole thing between Warren and Hearn was getting hyped. It's getting more and more hyped before Turkey jumped in. If they create a league with the universal rules and regulation, or universal dope testing, they will be able to attract major sponsorships as other major sports like Premier League, NBA. We all like the unpredictable boxing. We certainly do. We certainly do. So, right, this has gone a little longer than I thought it would go. But, yeah. Question, if somebody can ask me, can produce 3 quality fighters that Ben Davison has produced, or even one, he's produced from scratch. Not somebody's coming to the gym after having a great amateur career. But, no. He started from scratch. He's worked with. Thank you very much, Charlie Adams. From scratch, please let me know from scratch. And by the way, I've got a whole load of videos that I need to update. You need to check out my interviews with Martin Bacoli. Check out my Martin Bacoli interview. I've got quite a few, 2 or 3 of them with Billy Nelson. So they'll be quite interested to come up. I'm going to stream in a minute, mate. Stream for an hour or so. But yeah, go and check that out as well. It'd be good for you to have a look at those old classic videos. I'm going to re-tag them because there's so many videos out there, so many interviews out there that are relevant today. My Boots in This interviews. I used to have Boots in This on my show nearly. I had him 2-3 times on my show. My old Terence Crawford interviews. He produced Tyson Fury. Tyson was bad before, and Ben Davison is the second coming to be. I don't know. Ben Davison, I don't know. I just wish somebody would tell me, like, if two things. What sort of fighter is a Ben Davison fighter? Even Adam Booth, we know what Adam Booth fighter is. Adam Booth fighters punch hard, good footwork, and snipers. In and out. The job's great, mate. The job is great. I've just done the 2 days shadowing basketball at the tip of job. And then tomorrow I'm going to go and shadow another play female basketball tomorrow in East London. And then Friday I go out with the enrichment program with the basketball team. So I go out enrichment, going rollerblading. And then I'm not I rollerblade. Are you in tomorrow or working from home? No, no, no. I'm working all the time out now. I'm out every day working, Monday to Friday, coaching. Yeah, well, I haven't started doing any coaching myself. It's a unique job actually, because to be honest, it's probably the best coaching job in my whole career I'm having now. It's like to be supported in what you believe as a coach, with the funds to go with it, not based at a cricket club. But I'm really excited about it. We all know Adam Booth fighter, Ingle fighter, Cronk fighter. How did Ben Davison get so high up in the level? I don't know, mate. I don't know. But that's if somebody can tell me what a Ben Davison fighter is, and a fighter and what he's produced. Again, he's got to be from scratch. So, oh, Shook man, how you doing? Good evening, sir. I've been trying to follow your three-prong advice. You have inspired me. Really? Do any of them like boxing? Oh, yes, a few like boxing. A few of them like boxing. Yeah, I might even do some boxing drills with some of the guys to get them fit. You'll have to make a video about your coaching experience. Sounds interesting. Oh, absolutely. Oh, if you haven't already, subscribe to my channel, ECSM Cricket, and you'll see lots of videos of my time when I was out in Africa coaching over the 3 years. You'll see me doing a lot of TV work as well. I did some work as a TV pundit for almost 3 years as a TV pundit, talking to over 200 million people in Africa. So that was fun. Dubois has chance against AJ, but it's not likely due to AJ's continued improvement and development. Continued improvement and development. Are you going to say he's developed? Woohoo! So the Dubois, the Ngannou fight is his development, or are we going to stay under Derek James? So is Ben Davison getting the credit for Derek James, or has Ben Davison been working with AJ longer than Derek James? That's the thing I'm looking at. Subscribe. Looking forward to watching after this. Well done. Enjoy it. Do your students know your history of being close to famous boxing trainers, or do you keep it to yourself? Be humble. I don't. It's not just boxing. I just re-released three of my interviews I did with Beyonce's former manager, or Destiny Child's former manager. I just did 3 videos on that, interviews. So you should check it out, Bwtm online. I believe, okay, he bashed up Otto Walling, man. No. That's the lie. It's one of the biggest lies in media, world media. Matthew Knowles did not. He was not the name behind Destiny Charles. A lady called Angetta Tillman, who got them the contracts. Yeah. Little known fact. There's a book out there called The Making of a Child of Destiny, and I do get a credit inside of that book. And that's the truth about Destiny's Child. You bet you didn't know that. I bet you didn't know that Muhammad Ali's brother rang my house to talk about the history of Ali and the stuff that he said about Ali that wasn't true. That's an interview as well. You guys need to go back and check the history of BWTM. There's some really good interviews now. I've got to start posting out there. AJ had a lot of trainers and is still in his prime, and he has been able to implement, although small changes, I think he will carry him to victory. Yeah? All right. Okay, mate. Let's just see how much development happens when he gets hit on the chin. That's what I want to know. Yeah, bro. I was looking through all the history of a lot of videos I did, a lot of interviews I did way back. So many interviews I did, like we're ahead of it their time. I've got to start digging through the BWTM vault and check this out. How about, yeah? There's the Ali interview. There's Ray Mercer interview. There's a Hassan Rahman interview. There's Boots Innes, just me and Boots Innes chilling out. Who else? The old Keith Thurman interviews, you all know about that. The Terence Crawford interviews, you know about that. There's a Bivol interview that nobody talks about on my BWTM channel. Check out my interview with Bivol, the face-to-face interview. My Usyk interview, where me and him were talking with the guy who just fought, what's his name? Ortiz. Virgil Ortiz, the guy that Branchek, who fought Virgil Ortiz. Yeah. Like, it was Usyk and him in the same room with James Uncle Bashir. So there's the Usyk interview as well. Do I like the Mongoose? Yes, I do like the Mongoose. My boxing trainer used to talk a lot about him. Um, and Danny William interviews? No, I don't. What was it like in Africa when you were coaching? Totally different world, mate. Absolutely different world. But imagine you have 24-hour light here in England. In Africa, you're lucky if you get 3 or 4 hours light in a day, and they can turn the lights off on you like that. I mean, I was at a time where there was almost cashless society. They closed the banks down for you, that you could only get £10 out of the ATM. At one point, you can get any money out of the ATM bank. Yeah, it was bad, really bad. Do I have any of Frank Buglioni? Yeah, I did. I have interviewed Frank Buglioni. There's a Frank Buglioni interview on there as well. Yeah, Frank Buglioni. Yeah, Richard React, Paul. Do you see the Usyk versus Fury fight following a similar pattern, or are there discernible changes he can make? Let's put it this way: if Fury comes forward against Usyk, he's more likely to get knocked out quicker. I don't see how Fury was unable to get out of the way of the left hand. Anytime Usyk wanted to shoot it, Fury couldn't get out of the way of it. So I don't think Usyk will make the same mistakes again against Fury. Archie Moore, known as the Mongoose, said, "Yep, great fighter. Is he still local to you? Who? Is who still local to me? That's scary. Imagine not being able to withdraw your own money. Hopefully they fix that issue." Yeah, they did fix it. It was a big corruption. Big corruption in the country. They changed the notes. So it was like, imagine having your £10 note and then get up in the morning and being told that £10 is no longer legit. You have to use new notes instead. And that turned the whole country upside down. Yeah, it was horrible. And the queues were unbelievable queues. You're queuing for a day to go to the bank, and when you get into the bank, the teller tells you, "We don't have any money. Come back tomorrow." Yeah, it was crazy, absolutely crazy. Coaching was amazing. Great, amazing experience. Coaching really was. Yeah, that's exactly what happened. That's exactly what happened over there, and it was an experience. It was experience. You know, imagine that. Well, where was in Africa? It's one road in, one road out, one way in, one way out. That's it. Uh, Imagine being stuck in a traffic jam for 5 hours. 5 hours. Literally being able to shut the door in your car, go across to the petrol station, grab yourself food, come out, sit in the car. I haven't seen anything. It looked apocalyptic. Let's see here. West Indies beat South Africa in the T20. Great. Bwtm is still local. Is he? Okay. Heard Africa roads are pretty terrible. Yeah, there's lots of video footage I've posted of the roads. Like potholes. Literally potholes. Like, the roads are so deep. Like, some of the roads you go down in, it's like your wheels are sinking into the ground, and then sometimes you'll see water as high up as your window of your car window. You look across and you're just looking up, seeing just water. Yeah, I've posted lots of videos about it. Are you a betting man? Not really. There's been a lot of those in my time. Traffic jams in the 70s, 90s in the US was hell, I can imagine. I thought he was local to you. Who? Buglioni. I bet you live like a king in Nigeria, though, because of the exchange rate from the British pound to Naira. Not really. Not really. Because... Alright, so when I used to work for the state, I was probably getting paid... No, I wasn't getting paid. The fact is, I was getting paid £150 a month. And out of that £150, I had to pay to ensure that my car... got the company car that wasn't even... Like, the engine wasn't right in it. I had to pay for that. It was a mess. A mess. The best time, I think, while I was in Africa. I was fortunate because I was leaving to come back to England to actually work for Cricket Wales, and I had an opportunity. It was given to me by the UK government, and they said to me, "Could you put a program together preventing to help prevent crime in the community by reducing crime by getting youth involved?" I did, and that kind of sustained me for about a year and a bit. No, I never got to see the nightlife, to be honest. The closest to nightlife I saw was just going to the mall. I know you got a lot of love out there. Everybody loves the ink, man. I look forward to meeting you one day. Appreciate that, my friend. Yeah, why do you get it? Get across ECSM. But you don't even have to do that. You can just look at the playlist. There's loads of videos in the playlist. Wow. So they shortchanged you. Bit deeper than that, but yeah. Oh, he was in Nigeria. Those roads are the worst. I heard potholes and cargo falling off trucks. Yeah, the road I used to live just off. 16 people died in one day because the roads were so bad. And then after they did that, then they decided to fix the roads up after that. So, yeah. No, I didn't go to nightclubs. Shamir Joseph. I can tell you a story about Shamir Joseph. Shamir Joseph, actually, Roland Holder. Roland Butcher. Roland Butcher was the first black cricketer to play for England. Yeah, he used to play for Middlesex. So I was fortunate to meet him recently. He was also the chairman of selectors for the West Indies. I keep quite close contact with Roland, actually. And I think he rung the bell on one of the recent test matches where the West Indies played England. And he was the selector for the West Indies. And it was him that discovered Shamar Joseph. There you go. Do you in London? 60 in one day, my lord. Did you see Canal Province, or were you just in one place? No, I didn't go there. I was in Lagos. The only time I travelled was to Abuja, and that took 13 hours to get to Abuja. 13 hours. Yeah, and coming back. Yeah, it's, in future I'll fly. I'll never get on a coach. It was a beautiful journey, but I'll never get on a coach again. No, I never got to nightclubs. Never got time to go to nightclubs. Too busy, and it wasn't the image nor the sort of thing that I thought was it. Nightclubs are different out there to here. It wasn't something I wanted to be associated with in that sense. If you could recommend one place to stay in Lagos, where would it be you stay? You've got Lekki. You've got anybody's coming from the UK. I would say Victoria Island, Banana Island, Lekki, those places. Even Maryland. But where I stayed was notorious for crime, notorious for any sort of it was pretty bad. But it was good because I was able to be real, and I didn't want to go to a place in Africa that was what I'd see in England. I wanted to be, if I'm in Africa, I want to see Africa as it is. I have a friend from Nigeria. He said the traffic is 100 times worse than London and New York combined. Agreed. That's because but that's something to brag about. It's because the roads are so bad. Bus and train trips are quite test. You either love or hate it. If you hate it, best to fly out there. Well, yeah. Did you go to Snake Island? Snake Island? I don't know about Snake Island. I went to Victoria Island. I had to literally have to leave to go onto the island, go across a bridge called Terminal Bridge over the water, and you go into the city. Was where all the main things happen. And I used to make that trip twice or three times a week when I was head coach for Lagos. But then after that, I'd be going over to do my TV work. So I did my TV work for two major stations in Nigeria. I was on channels, and then I was on TNT television, and I did broadcast those shows on this channel as well. So alright, so just go through. If you go through the playlist, you'll see on BWTM. He said it's because of an increase of urbanization. My mate said that the reason there's huge traffic in Lagos, they're building loads of stuff and making things more modern. I don't know about that. I could tell you something. They don't make sense. Like, for example, the time you should be building a road, like in England, we would do it at night time for the most part, unless it's an emergency. We'll do our building at night time. These dudes will do the building in the middle of the day. Hey, middle of the day where it's busy, they're going to be doing road works. Like not, and they will only do road works like when the roads are, there's money allocated to fix the roads, and they will only do the fixing of the roads when it's absolutely last minute. Like there have to be like deaths on the road or something tragic has to happen for them to fix the roads. They won't just fix it like that unless there's a councillor or member of parliament that's there, you know, a senator or somebody's got a bit of money that has some vested interest in the area, or they want to get elected, then they'll do the roads. Is the nightlife dangerous there? I don't know. I never found out what the nightlife was like. I never had the time to find it. I didn't live that. I didn't expose myself in that way. Do you understand? If you look at the amount of young people, youth and adults and people I was working with, I didn't have time for that kind of life. No, I didn't. You got to remember, my background was, I came from being a nightclub manager. I used to run a nightclub, or assistant manager of a nightclub in Brighton, and that was 1,500 capacity nightclub, 2 floors. It was the biggest nightclub in Brighton at the time. Equinox was across the road from us. It's back in the day. Blockster. You should be dancing. When that was the year that song came out. That's when I was working as a manager there. So England went for a reason of inspiring the youth in Nigeria, not for women in a nightclub. Haha, it's true. But I did that. When I was 14, I said to myself, if I can't be the best player in the world for England, then I'll be one of the best coaches in the world. And so that's my journey begun. Wow, that's cool. Nightclub manager. Did you employ a lot of bouncers? I think the bouncers fun. I remember one dude was just causing so many problems one night. And I can't go into too much detail because I don't know who's listening. But ultimately, we got the bouncers, got the guy one arm, next arm one side, and then we opened the door and threw him onto the seafront. Like, basically, used his head to open the fire exit. Most funniest thing ever. 1,500 means at least 15 fights a night. And no, really, it was nothing like that, bro. It was all love. Not on my shift, and not on the shifts of anybody else. Any idiots were very quickly removed. Didn't tolerate that. Wow, we need your stories about the nightclub career. I could give you a lot. Damn, I'm remembering stories now. My good lord. Walkie-talkies. Man, let me tell you something. During the day, it's like, there's something about the suit and the lights. Like, during the day, you're in jeans and a t-shirt, and you're doing the stock and everything. Then you do stock. You come in early, like 8 o'clock. Do your stock checks and everything. Make sure it's set. You leave about, say, 1 o'clock. You'll go home and sleep for like 6-7 hours. So you'll come back to the club. You put the suit on. You come back to the club at 8 o'clock, and then you flick the lights. 9 o'clock. The music starts bouncing, boom, 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 and you're in that suit, and then you see the ladies coming through, and you know, and it's just like, if you talk about stroking ego and being egotistical, that all that ego, all that pride, you know, I'm the boss. You can really get caught up in it and believe your own hype, and I'm kind of thankful what happened to me happened. It changed my life, honestly, because I was in the nightclub that was in that industry for a while. I would never have been on the road that I'm on today if those incidents had happened. It was a real humbling experience. The laugh from Ingram tells you stuff went down. Yeah, quite literally it did. It was a great time. Uh, Come on, man. What kind of question is that? Bill and Sniffer? No, come on. I could even have that conversation about Jay up at no, Jay's gonna wipe him out. Incidents. Oh man, I'll tell you one quick story. So, did you get a lot of attention from women while in the industry? That you get down and dirty or plenty of occasion? No. Well, I came to understand that it took me a while to understand it. He used to understand to himself, like, why is it like at night time you've got a really great personality, and now I'm meeting you in the coffee. I meet you for coffee while I'm on my like break time. I meet you for coffee. You're absolutely as boring as hell. I never understood the transformation. Alcohol. So the whole, because I wasn't one who drank, so I never understood the alcohol world. Alcohol can make the most boring person, the most introverted person become the most extroverted and most excitable person just by alcohol. It's a world in itself. Just imagine Ingram telling people outside kicking up fast, no mate, you're not getting in. Maybe you're a big man in your in your section, but I'm the daddy here. Where's your tool? Oh, it was fun. And you know what? I had a lot of love for my bouncers. A lot of love for them. And they're just cool dudes. Nobody really wants stress and issues. They just want to have a good night. You know? What's up? What I miss? Alcohol gives you Dutch courage. It does. It does. We've gone completely off topic here, but we'll engage anyway. It does. It does get you. I will, from what I've seen, it does. It's a different world. Smoke, drink, and drugs. The best thing, one of the best nights, I'll never forget it. Lesson. I'll explain why I left the club. So I'll talk about the best night and then the worst night. The best night was lock-in. So I said to staff, right, Saturday night we're having a lock-in. So we shut the club at 3 a.m. So we shut the club at 3 a.m. Normally if we had special events it was 4 a.m. So we had a lock-in at 3:30. I said, look, if we get this place cleaned up, right, we'll have a lock-in for an hour, drinks, I'll order some food, or whatever, great night. So a great morning it was. So that's what it was. And I remember this, I was manager for must have been about 3 months now. And people had seen me work from like a member of staff, a bar staff. And then obviously from there, come back and become a manager, assistant manager. So there was some sick in the toilet. Somebody had vomited clearly. It was all sick all around the toilet bowl. And I said to them, are you gonna, I said, well, this is your job for you to clean it up. And they looked at me in a strange way. What I did, I took my jacket off, I took my tie off, I opened the shirt, I said, wait, don't clean it up. So I went in there and I cleaned it up myself, got some gloves, obviously, sprayed bleach floor, cleaned it all up. The staff just looked at me like this. I said, now I've cleaned up. That's not my job. That's not my description. That's what you guys are here to do now. Your staff, and this is your. So that night changed everything in terms of the atmosphere, and I wasn't, because the guy before me was an absolute idiot. He was just one of these guys that was that power. I'm your boss. You'll do that. And sometimes I hate to say, some people need that, but in general, that's not the way I think and view things. So I said, when I came into the job, I wouldn't do that. Now, as for the worst day of my life, one of the worst days of my life, all that ego stuff, all that pride stuff, all that, wow, I'm the boss, or you come to the club, you're in my home now. That's cool. And I remember one time I was going into I used to go in department stores and either get things half price or get things where you didn't have to pay for anything at all, just because of who you were. Your reputation was what carried you around the town centre quite, and in a positive fashion, by the way. So Anyway, was called into the office, and they said, we're gonna have to let you go. I'm like, what do you mean you're gonna have to let me go? We have to let you go because like kind of like redundancy sort of thing. Like the company is shutting down. The club was shutting down itself. So that's what happened. And I remember being let go, quite literally, or being told I was being let go. And I had 2 mobile phones on me, and both mobile phones went missing. I had to walk through the town centre because I'd invited some girls. I think the club was getting shut down with immediate effect, and there were some girls that were coming to the club that worked in various department stores, and I invited them to come, and I wasn't going to be there. So they reduced the staff like that, quite literally, like that. And you're talking about more than 20 years ago, 1990, 1999, 1998. Yeah, it was bad, man. It was horrible. But that was the making of me. But then I tried after that to go and get another job. I got fired within 3 weeks. And I tried to get another job, and then I got fired within 4 weeks of that job. And I said, that's it. No more licensed trade with me. I should have got the memo. I was one point away from having my own pub. So if I had got the 20 out of 20, I would have had my own pub because I would have had a license. So I kept getting 19 out of 20, 19 out of 20. I did the 3 times I did the test. So it wasn't my destiny to be there. But it taught me some humbling lessons. Yeah, so that's it, really. That's it. That's what happened. That's what it is. As a guy, did you security serious? For some people, alcohol gives them superhuman strength. I've seen tiny women wrestling with 3 or 4 guys. Yeah, those overbearing bosses are the worst. I don't pay you to think, ugh, wow, the respect your staff must have had. A manager leading by example, bet they listened to you with everything you said. You didn't look down at them. You looked at them on a certain level. Goosebumps. Yeah. I remember at times, like there was times where I actually walked to work along the seafront with staff going to work. Like, it's pretty unheard of. That's what I did. I walked to work with them. I could have got a taxi back to and from work. But I used to hear they were walking along the seafront or walking back at night. I would do it. Obviously, I would never be alone when I did it, but I did it. And it was, yeah, it was a team. You're done. Fired for what? Damn, they got rid of you all. Was that the ending of your nightclub scene? More or less, it was the ending. More or less, it was the ending. Uppercutting, upper management. Oh, yeah. Finally fired in 3 weeks for what? Well, I think that job was incessantly talking with customers instead of doing my work. I was young. I just wanted to do what I was doing in the nightclub industry in a restaurant, and you can't. It's different settings. Like you can't operate in like a harvester the same way you operate in a nightclub. It's different mentality, and I never kind of like. I was like, my ego had been bruised, and I was like, nah, it's whatever. I can come in there and do the same thing, and you can't. You cannot. Did anyone else in the nightclub like cricket? Bro, cricket, that wasn't part of my life then. Boxing was part of my life back then. That's when I was training with. I left. I was on my way to Steve Robinson's gym, which was. And Barry Jones, that's how I met Barry Jones. Barry Jones, the commentator he was fighting defrators. So yeah, I was training. I was going down to the gym. I was boxing down there, training down there. So yeah, that's what happened. What was your job role in the restaurant? I was a manager. What was the experience for moving from management in one job to another? Ego got in the way, my friend. Ego. That's all it was then. Ego. Pride and ego. I didn't realise how inflated my ego had become at that time because of the work I was doing. It was a long time ago. And the ego can make you feel immortal. Like nothing could happen to you. You see a lot of these people in the world today that are in big positions of power, and the ego is just out of control. Yeah. So I learned a lot from that. I learned a lot from those experiences, and I said to myself, I'd never again ever get myself into a position where your ego is so out of control that you lose touch of reality of life. Of course I was playing Football Manager then, bro. It wasn't in Football Manager, it was FIFA Manager. FIFA Manager was out then, and it was Premier League stars. Teddy Sheringham was still playing for Manchester United. Cole, York, A Sensible World of Soccer, LMA Manager. Yeah, that's for the old schools. As a matter of fact, I got my PlayStation 2 and I bought all the LMA series. I haven't had a chance to play it because I'm playing FC24. Yeah. Back in the day. I don't even know how we got into this conversation, but anyway, I hope you've enjoyed it. Just chilling out with you guys. I can't imagine you being an arrogant manager. Guess goes to show how times change, people change. You know what it is? If you've never had those experiences, like those spine tingling experiences that go from the top of your head to the tip of your toe, where you're like, wow, this feels like that adrenaline shot. It's like you can get hooked in it. So you go back for the adrenaline again and again and again and again and again. And the adrenaline, every time because it's adrenaline that keeps you going for these, when you're doing these shifts, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, come back in Monday, ready again. You have you have students, EFL students, English as a foreign language, Spanish, German, Italian, Polish, all these different, we'd have it during the week where they have these mini parties for them. So they'd come into these parties, maybe they'd come in at 5 o'clock, and they're in the club to about 8:30, and you're entertaining them with that small party first, and then you've got the big club that opens at 9:30, and you're going on till 3 o'clock in the morning. And then you got the afters. Then you might go into Buddies, which you have in Brighton, which are 24 hour. So you're having your breakfast at 4:30 in the morning. Then you're going back home, you're sleeping, you get up, you're doing your stock, doing the things in the club. You're just in a world in itself. And there's no really person to check you on those sort of things. So I wouldn't say I was arrogant. Arrogant is like the other end of it. Also, I was never disrespectful to anybody. But ego. Yes, that's it. That's why boxers don't quit when they should, because the adrenaline, that feeling of, that was such a great night. I was getting all the attention. Yeah, I made that decision. I made that call. This is how these people think. I made that call. I did that. Yeah. I'm just going to stand out there with my nice suit, and they're going to tell me I look good. Yeah. I'm going to walk through the club, and if anyone comes in and says anything to me, I'll get the bouncers on them. Yeah, for all these guys. And you know what? All that sort of stuff, in that room, you carry that much power. But then when you get out of the room and you're on the street, you're just some random guy on the street. When you walk through those doors, it's good evening, boss. You have that respect. It has that sort of power. How did you have time to play football? Anybody who's a football manager expert has time. It wasn't football manager, it's championship manager back in those days. yeah, it's just that. So now I have that baseline from all those years back then, that no matter what I do, no matter where I go, no matter what I achieve, just remember, nightclub, paradox, first leisure. Just remember that. Yeah. So yeah, it balances you out. It really does. Oh well, if you learn the lesson, if you learn a lesson to be better, not bitter, learn the lesson and move on. If the club reopened and they offered you a job to be general manager, would you? No, hell no. Hell no. No, 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 my friend. No. 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 No way. No way. Is so many dynamics you have to take into consideration. Around the people that are going to be drunk, smoking, erratic behavior. It's not a real, it's a world consumed of substance and substance abuse. And no, I couldn't do it now. No, no. I mean, the whole reason of what I do now as a coach is to bring the best out of others, to facilitate and for them to be better. What am I doing in a nightclub? Right? People come to relax themselves, to express themselves and have fun. They've had a long week. They don't want me in their ear telling them that they need to change their lives. Who am I? You know? No, I wouldn't do it. Yeah, well, isn't alcohol a drug? Isn't alcohol a drug? And when you get drunk, isn't that the sign that you've drank a bit too much? And then is that not an abuse? You drink the alcohol to relax and mellow out. Isn't that the purpose? I mean, I guess. I'm not a drinker, but you drink to mellow out with others. But you get drunk and then you're vomiting. I mean, that's abuse, right? Which most people do on a weekend, and that's the way they relax. And I'm not judging anybody, but it's abuse. It's what it is, isn't it? Yeah. Well, I don't know what's inside their body, do I? But I know the guy's talking. He's always reacts when he's talking to me. I know that there's something going on there. You know, he's talking. He's chewing. There's something going on there. So, not my business. I didn't tell him. Like, I'm not exactly going to go inside the body and tell them not to take the stuff. But it is what it is. It's common in all. They smell with the smell of different aromas. That is not aftershave or perfume. Yeah. And it's not alcohol, so the different aromas. Yeah, jaw swinging. Yeah. It's not because they don't know how to chew gum either. Yeah. And then, did you ever get into any altercations during a time at nightclub? No, not really. Not really, because it was... No. Because, no, not really. I said, before there was an altercation, before it could happen, there'd be 2 or 3 guys around beforehand. When you're a manager that's liked, you're always secure. But when you're a manager that's not liked, watch your back. It is what it is. Even if a female's approaching me, security's there. They're on it. And the question's asked, do you want this interaction to continue? What's going on here? Do you understand? That's even a female. I'll never know. So if a bloke's coming up to me, security's already there. It's bouncers there. It's not even a case of I never had to go to my thing and it never was that case for me. Oh, lock-ins were good. The lock-ins were good because, like, the DJ, I say, listen, bro, what do you want? It was Malibu and Coke was the one. And then we used to have the Smirnoff girls. So the Smirnoff girls, Brandon Block was the year. That was the best year. Brandon Block should be dancing. And you had the Smirnoff girls. So they always dressed in something quite skimpy. But the most important thing was they were promoting Smirnoff. So it used to be a vodka and Red Bull was £4.50. You probably won't get those prices again. £4.50. And when we did lock-in, so like 12 o'clock, lock-in was basically, that meant that nobody could come into the club after 12 o'clock. And then we drop the prices, and then we have mass people rush into the club, rush into the bars, which a flash of light, like a red light would go off. And people would just run to the bar because they got a discount of 50p. And I'm like, whoa. Yeah. No, it was not a strip club. It was a nightclub. Strip club. What kind of dude do you think I am, Barry? Strip club. To be fair, the only one of those, there's 2 times I've been in one of those clubs. I was again working as an assistant manager. This before, I was in Cardiff and I was studying, and some guy said to me, "Oh yeah, I want to take you to a club, mate." I'm like, "Yeah, okay, all right, fine." So we went to this place. This place was on the high street in Cardiff. He took me down these steps to this, I don't know what it was, basement. And yeah, no, not for me. It's not my sort of thing. To check the plumbing. I knew how to change the casket. Yeah. The basement of our nightclub was very nice. Very nice place. Many things happened in that basement. Very nice. Very good. Positive things, of course. But yeah, all right, enough of the nightclub talk anyway. It's like I'm talking like I'm enjoying it, or I'm glorifying it. I'm just flashing back to what was then. I in no way, shape or form desire to return back to those days. They were there. They taught me the lesson I need to learn. And I think I've evolved since then. I somehow lost notes in the strip club. Strange how that happens. Yeah, Smirnoff, of course. Yeah, they're promotional. So what they do, they send 2 girls along, or 2 or 4 girls along, pretty. And then those girls, it was their job to promote Smirnoff. So they'd walk around and say, "Oh yeah, would you like to try a shot of this? Would you like to try a shot of this?" And there was the Smirnoff. That's the year that they brought out the blue Smirnoff. They brought out the blue Smirnoff, and there was Smirnoff Ice. So it was the Smirnoff Ice they were promoting at the time. Listen, what went down in the basement stays in the basement, my friend. Barry, you've got to understand, what's in the basement stays in the basement. But it's all good. Right. A lot of stock checking. A lot of changing of caskets. Yeah. Wait, what went on? Yeah. What happens in Thailand stays in Thailand, Barry. But it's good. It was good. Right, let me get out of here. I don't know how I got into all this, but it was good. It was good talking to you guys again about just general random stuff, flashbacks. But yeah, fun. Thailand, funny times, wink wink. I've never been to Thailand, by the way. I've just heard stories. Yeah, from reliable sources. Anyway, let's get out of this. Let's get back to 2024, where we are now. Yeah. But yeah, I don't even know how we got into the topic of nightclubs, and anyway, I don't know how we got there, but I'm glad we had the chat anyway. It was a long time ago, and I'm grateful for those experiences. I had this conversation with you guys, and now I probably missed out on my Barcelona time. Right, let me get out of here. Would I go? Who knows? Maybe. Wouldn't just go there though. I'd go Thailand, Philippines, Indonesia. Yeah, I would go. Definitely see different cultures. I've seen Africa. I've seen Australia. I've seen the US. So the only place I haven't seen is India. And Asia, China, those places. Apparently there's some cool things in Thailand. Lots to see. Only bad thing is the weather, in my opinion. Apparently it rains loads. Yeah, no different to England, eh? Right, let me get out. I hope you've enjoyed the conversation. I haven't done a chat like this since back in the day of Bayloric TV. Those days. Good times. Yeah. I want to see the basement, mate. The club now, the last time I checked, it was a charity organisation. When I went back the first time, the whole place was graffitied. And yeah, it was a complete dump. So yeah, it's not the same anymore. It's not a nightclub anymore. So yeah, it shut that down. So I'll probably go past it again and maybe do a video on it next time I go down to Brighton. I'll do a video on it. Yeah. For those who want to know where it would have been, it's down West Street, from the clock tower down West Street. On the right hand side you have the Odeon Cinema, and on the left hand side is where the nightclub would be. It's opposite a hotel, and there used to be the Aussie place, I can't remember, bars, Walkabout. Damn, Walkabout. Did Walkabouts even exist anymore? Yeah, Walkabout. Good place. Yeah, Walkabout. I'll have to go and check Walkabout out and see if it still exists. I've missed out on a lot 3 years in Africa. But yeah, check out the channel ECSM. And by the way, those of you who are still watching, get across to my gaming channel, Bwtm Gaming, where Barry and ST and a few others do chill out with me. I'm going to go and do my Barcelona game now for about an hour. I've got an early start tomorrow. Travel. Oh, I'm not looking forward to it. Take care, guys. Have a great night.